I trusted my best friend with my car. He crashed it drunk, then tried to frame me as the driver. What he didn't know, I had 3 different recordings proving he was lying. The moment he realized I'd been 10 steps ahead the entire time is something I'll never forget. It was a Friday night in October, the kind where the air has just enough chill to make you grab a light jacket, but not enough to keep you home. I was sprawled on my couch, half watching some forgettable action movie while scrolling through my phone. The apartment was quiet except for the occasional explosion from the TV and the hum of the refrigerator. Then came the call. "Hey, Mark, I need a huge favor, man." It was Alex, my best friend since college. We'd been through everything together. Graduation, first jobs, relationships, breakups. He was the guy who helped me move apartments 3 times without complaining, the one who stayed up all night when my dad was in the hospital. My ride or die for over a decade. "What's up?" I asked, already reaching for my keys out of habit. "My car won't start, and I'm supposed to meet Sarah for dinner in 20 minutes. Can I borrow yours? I swear I'll have it back before midnight." I hesitated for just a second. My car was my baby, a charcoal grey Audi A4 I'd saved for 3 years to buy. But this was Alex. "Sure, man. Come by and grab it. You're a lifesaver. I owe you one." 15 minutes later, he was at my door. I noticed immediately that something was off. His eyes were slightly glassy, and there was a faint smell of beer on his breath. Not drunk, but definitely not completely sober either. "Have you been drinking?" I asked, the keys suddenly feeling heavier in my hand. "What? No, just 1 beer with lunch hours ago," he said with a dismissive wave. "I'm totally fine to drive." I should have trusted my gut, but when you've known someone for 15 years, you develop a blind spot. You make excuses for them that you wouldn't make for anyone else. Just be careful, okay? I handed him the keys, along with my usual warning. "Remember the dashcam turns on automatically when you start the car." Yeah, I know. Your fancy spy gadget." He laughed, twirling the keyring around his finger. "Thanks again. I'll text you when I'm heading back." I watched him drive away, that tiny knot of worry in my stomach that I chose to ignore. I went back to my movie, then eventually fell asleep on the couch. The next thing I knew, my phone was buzzing insistently at 3:17 a.m. 3 texts from Alex. "Had accident. Everyone okay. At hospital getting checked." I bolted upright, fully awake now. I called him immediately, but no answer. I called 3 more times before giving up and ordering an Uber to the nearest hospital. The emergency room was quiet in that eerie way hospitals get in the early morning hours. A nurse directed me to a curtained area where I found Alex sitting on the edge of a bed, holding an ice pack to his forehead. My car keys were on the small table beside him. "What happened?" I asked, scanning him for injuries. Besides the bump on his head and a few scratches on his arms, he seemed okay. He looked up at me, and something in his expression made my skin prickle. It wasn't relief at seeing me. It wasn't even guilt about the car. It was calculation. "Mark," he said, his voice oddly formal. "Man, I'm so sorry about what happened." "Just tell me what happened to my car," I said. "It's pretty bad. I hit a parked car on Maple Street. Cops came, took statements." He paused, then added casually, "I told them you were driving." The words didn't register at first. They were so unexpected, so absurd, that my brain refused to process them. "You what?" "Look, I had a few drinks at dinner. If they do a blood test and find out I was driving, I'll lose my license. I can't lose my license, Mark. Not with my new job starting next month." He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "I told them you were driving and I was the passenger. That you ran to get help and then came back with me." The room seemed to tilt. This wasn't happening. This wasn't Alex, not the person who'd been my best man 2 years ago, not the friend I trusted with everything. "You were drinking? You lied to me?" My voice was surprisingly steady despite the hurricane building inside me. "And now you're trying to pin a DUI on me." "It's not that big a deal," he said, and I saw a flash of the old, charming Alex, the one who could talk his way out of anything. "Your insurance will cover the damage. I'll pay your deductible. No one was hurt, and it's just your word against mine now, anyway." That's when I noticed the smirk. Small, almost imperceptible, but definitely there. He thought he had me cornered. He thought I would roll over and take the fall for him, because that's what I'd always done. Been the reliable one, the responsible one, the friend who would do anything to help. "You really think I'm going to let you do this?" I asked quietly. His face hardened slightly. "What choice do you have? You gave me permission to drive your car. I've already given my statement to the police. It's your word against mine, and we both know how this works." The owner of the car usually takes the fall in these situations. I could have exploded right there. Could have shouted and raged and told him exactly what kind of person does this to their best friend. But something cold and clear crystallized inside me. This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment. This was deliberate, calculated. He had weighed our 15-year friendship against his convenience and found it wanting. "I need to see my car," was all I said. "It's been towed to City Impound. We can deal with it tomorrow." He handed me my keys, wincing slightly as he moved. "Look, I'm really sorry about this, but it'll blow over, I promise. And I'll make it up to you." I took the keys without a word and left him there. In the Uber back home, I didn't cry or scream. Instead, I made a plan. The next morning, I went to the police station. I asked to speak to the officer who had responded to the accident. Officer Rivera was a no-nonsense woman with tired eyes and a notepad that had seen better days. "Mr. Chen," she said, glancing at the report. "According to the statement from Mr. Westfield, you were driving the vehicle that struck a parked car on Maple Street at approximately 1:30 a.m. Is that correct?" "No, officer, that's not correct. I wasn't in the car at all. Alex borrowed my car and was driving alone." She gave me a look I'd seen before, the one that says she's heard every excuse in the book. "Mr. Westfield was quite clear in his statement. He said you were driving, had a few drinks, panicked after the accident, and ran to get help." "He's lying," I said simply. "And I can prove it." I pulled out my phone and showed her my location history from the previous night. It clearly showed I had been at my apartment from 8 p.m. until 3:30 a.m. when I took an Uber to the hospital. Then I showed her the Uber receipt. She looked interested now, but still skeptical. "This is compelling, but phone data can be manipulated." "I also have this," I said, pulling up the Dashcam app on my phone. I hadn't checked it yet myself, hoping it had captured what I needed. The footage was clear. It showed Alex getting into the driver's seat outside my apartment building. Showed him driving to a bar, not a restaurant. Showed him coming out 2 hours later, visibly stumbling. Showed the entire accident. Him swerving into a parked BMW, the impact, his slurred cursing afterward. Officer Rivera watched in silence, her expression shifting from skepticism to certainty. "There's more," I said. "The gas station across from the bar has security cameras that would have caught him entering and leaving alone." She nodded slowly. "We'll get that footage. Mr. Chen, you should know that filing a false police report is a serious offence. Your friend could face charges for that on top of the DUI. "I understand," I said, feeling no satisfaction. Just a hollow ache where my friendship with Alex used to be. I left the station and went to see my car at the impound lot. The front end was crumpled, the headlights shattered, the hood accordioned back toward the windshield. 5 years of careful payments, gone in one moment of selfishness. My phone buzzed with a text from Alex. "Insurance adjuster meeting tomorrow at 2. We need to get our story straight." I didn't respond. Let him think I was still processing, still deciding whether to go along with his lie. Let him think he still had control of the situation. That evening, he showed up at my door unannounced. The bump on his head had darkened to an impressive bruise, but he was smiling that winning smile that had gotten us into VIP sections and out of trouble so many times before. "Hey," he said, holding up a 6-pack of my favourite craft beer. "Thought we should talk." I let him in but didn't take the beer he offered. "Look," he started, settling onto my couch like this was any other Friday night hangout. "I know you're pissed about the car, but think about it. Your insurance covers everything except the deductible, which I'll pay. Meanwhile, if they pin this on me, I lose my license, which means I could lose the job offer I just got." That's my whole future, man. I sat across from him, studying his face. This was the Alex I knew, charming, persuasive, making his problems sound like they should be everyone's priority. "What about my future?" I asked quietly. "A DUI on my record? Higher insurance rates for years? Possible criminal charges?" He waved dismissively. "It's your first offence. You'd probably just get probation, maybe a restricted license. Small price to pay to help out your best friend, right?" The casual entitlement in his voice made something snap inside me. But still, I kept my cool. "And what happens when the insurance investigator asks for details about the accident?" "We keep it simple," he said, leaning forward eagerly, mistaking my calm for compliance. "You had a couple drinks at dinner, felt fine to drive, had the accident. I was with you the whole time. Stick to that story and there's no problem." "No problem," I repeated. "Just perjury." "Don't be so dramatic," he laughed. "It's just an insurance form." I nodded slowly, as if considering it. "And the police report? You already told them I was driving." "Exactly. See, you get it. The groundwork is already laid. We just need to be consistent from here on out." I stood up, went to the kitchen, and came back with a glass of water instead of beer. "I'll see you at the insurance office tomorrow." He looked triumphant as he left, clapping me on the shoulder. "Knew I could count on you, buddy. Always have." The door closed behind him, and I let out a breath I felt like I'd been holding for days. Then I sent a carefully worded email to my insurance agent, explaining that I had reason to believe the claim might involve fraud and requesting a senior investigator for tomorrow's meeting. The next day, I arrived at the insurance office 20 minutes early. I spoke privately with Mr. Kaplan, the fraud investigator, and showed him everything I had shown Officer Rivera, plus one more thing: a screenshot of a text Alex had sent to a mutual friend the night of the accident, saying he was too wasted to drive home, but was using Mark's car anyway. Mr. Kaplan's expression grew increasingly grim as he reviewed the evidence. "Mr. Chen, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Insurance fraud is a felony. Your friend was attempting to commit a very serious crime." "I understand," I said for the second time in as many days. When Alex strolled in 5 minutes late, he froze momentarily at the sight of Mr. Kaplan's serious expression, then quickly recovered his easy smile. "Hey, Mark, and you must be the claims adjuster." He extended his hand. "Mr. Westfield, I'm Jonathan Kaplan, senior fraud investigator with Meridian Insurance. Please have a seat." The smile faltered slightly. "Fraud investigator? There must be some mistake. This is just a routine accident claim." "There's no mistake," Mr. Kaplan said. "We have reason to believe this claim involves attempted insurance fraud." Alex's eyes darted to me, a flash of betrayal quickly replaced by confidence. "That's ridiculous. Mark was driving. I was the passenger. End of story." "Mr. Westfield, before we continue, I should inform you that making false statements during an insurance investigation is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison." Alex's jaw tightened, but he doubled down. "I understand. My statement stands. Mark was driving." Mr. Kaplan nodded, then opened his laptop. "In that case, I'd like to show you something." He turned the screen so we could both see it and played the dashcam footage. Alex's face went from confident to confused to ashen as he watched himself get into the driver's seat, drive to the bar, stumble back to the car, and crash. That could be anyone," he stammered, though the footage clearly showed his face. "We also have Mr. Chen's location data showing he was at home during the accident, gas station security footage showing you alone at the bar, and text messages you sent admitting you were intoxicated before driving." Alex's eyes were wild now, darting between Mr. Kaplan and me. "Mark, what the hell? You set me up?" "No, Alex, you set yourself up when you decided to lie to the police and try to frame me for your DUI. "I was trying to protect my future," he exploded. "What about our friendship? 15 years, and this is how you repay me." "Friendship works both ways," I said, surprised at how steady my voice was. "And it doesn't include taking the fall for your crimes." Mr. Kaplan cleared his throat. "Mr. Westfield, Meridian Insurance will be denying this claim based on material misrepresentation. We'll also be forwarding all evidence to the police to supplement their investigation into the false report you filed. Mr. Chen, as the policyholder, you may still be eligible for coverage under your collision policy, though there will be a separate investigation." Alex stood up so abruptly, his chair toppled backward. "This is bullshit. It's your word against mine, Mark." "No," I said quietly. "It's your word against the evidence. There's a difference." He stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the blinds. Mr. Kaplan turned to me with a sympathetic look. "I'm sorry about your friend, Mr. Chen." "He's not my friend," I said, surprised at how final the words felt. "Not anymore." The aftermath came in waves. Alex was charged with filing a false police report, driving under the influence, and attempted insurance fraud. He took a plea deal: probation, community service, a suspended license for 2 years, and mandatory alcohol counseling. His new job rescinded their offer when they learned about the charges. My insurance covered most of the damage to my car, though I still had to pay the deductible. The owner of the BMW Alex hit was understanding once he learned the full story. My premiums went up slightly, but nothing like they would have if I'd been found at fault for a DUI accident. Alex tried to contact me multiple times. Angry texts at first, then apologetic ones, finally desperate ones. I blocked his number after he showed up drunk at my apartment, shouting that I had ruined his life. Our mutual friends were split. Some understood why I had done what I did. Others thought I should have found a way to protect him, even at my own expense. I lost people I thought would always be in my life. But I kept my dignity, my clean record, and my self-respect. 6 months later, I was having coffee at my favourite spot downtown when someone slid into the seat across from me. It was Sarah. Alex's girlfriend from the night of the accident. Or ex-girlfriend now, I assumed. "I owe you an apology," she said without preamble. I looked up, surprised. "For what?" "For believing him instead of you, for the things I said." I shrugged. "You weren't the only one." "No, but I should have known better." She twisted her coffee cup nervously. "The thing is, there was no dinner date that night. We'd broken up 2 days earlier because I caught him cheating. He made up the whole story about meeting me." Something cold settled in my stomach. So he lied about that too. He lied about everything, Mark, and not just to you. She took a deep breath. "After everything happened with your car, other people started coming forward. The money he borrowed from friends that he never intended to repay. The lies he told to cover up mistakes at work. The girl he was seeing behind my back for months." I sat back, processing this. It wasn't just one moment of panic after an accident. It was a pattern. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked finally. "Because I wanted you to know you did the right thing. And because—" She hesitated, then pushed a small envelope across the table. "This is your deductible. Alex should have paid it, but since he won't, I am." I stared at the envelope, but didn't touch it. "You don't owe me anything, Sarah." "I know, but someone should make this right, even if it's not him." I thought about it, then slowly took the envelope. "Thank you." As she got up to leave, she paused. "He would have kept doing it, you know, using people, lying, manipulating. You're the only one who ever held him accountable." After she left, I sat for a long time, turning my coffee cup in circles. I thought about the keys I had handed Alex that night, keys that represented trust as much as they did a car. I thought about the dashcam I'd installed after a minor fender bender the year before, a small decision that had ultimately saved me from taking the fall for someone else's mistake. I thought about loyalty and where its limits should be. A week later, I traded in my repaired Audi for a different model. Same maker, different colour, fresh start. As I was cleaning out the old car, I found Alex's sunglasses wedged between the passenger seat and the centre console. I considered mailing them to him, then simply dropped them in a donation bin instead. Some things aren't worth holding on to. Some people, too. The new car has a dashcam as well. Old habits die hard and some lessons stick with you. I'm more careful now about who I trust, but I haven't become cynical. I've just learned that real loyalty never demands self-destruction. And sometimes the most important person to stay loyal to is yourself.